Hello and welcome. You're here with Brothers Forge Gaming, and this is Blasphemous on the PS4. Got sound going, so that's always good. Alright, so as you can see here, what caught my eye on this, published by Team 17. And also, I believe I've seen the Game Kitchen do other games that I was interested in but did not get to play, so I'm excited that these two guys came together and put this out. I believe you can get this as a limited run game. It's rather pricey though, but available as a download, reasonable. I think it's like $24.99, something like that. You can catch it on sale. And if you're like me, you saw this game and you were immediately intrigued. You're like, oh my gosh, this looks amazing, and you're not wrong. The level of detail, the amount of energy and effort put into making this game, I can only imagine, was painstaking and as brutal as the gameplay itself. There are some options, a few different things, not a lot, and you do get some extras. You can get some different appearances. I believe I'll go with that one that I had, the newest one. And again, this game is very graphic in nature, the subject matter. It is a brutal game, but realistically, it's done in a way that it is to illustrate its own making. You know what I mean? It's the subject matter is the game, so it's not like they're just blatantly doing this violent stuff and this wild stuff. This is very, they did it for a reason. So, again, if you're like me, you're out there, you saw this game, you're like, what the heck is this game? You look up the reviews. A lot of time, online reviews aren't helpful. They don't tell you if a game is worth playing or not. They just kind of vaguely do say a few key words that might get you interested in, and that drives me nuts. And a lot of time the places won't do good reviews, or they're only reviewing the top games that so you don't get to see a lot on this. But this game is very, very excellent. What we're gonna do. A lot of time I like to bring platinum trophy guides to you guys. This one, trophy hunters out there, beware. Not only is this game incredibly difficult and frustrating, the trophies require timing and doing certain events before doing other things. The flow of the trophies, it's almost like you have to look up a guide to do them, or otherwise you'd have to be brilliant at these kinds of games, because it requires talk to this one guy before you do this one thing, bring this one thing to this other guy, la 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 la. And if you do any of those out of order, you're done. You got to start your run over. Not to mention some of the just super hard ones that require you beat all the bosses without potions and different things like that. So it's pretty tough. But what we're going to do right here, we're going to do a little bit of gameplay on this. I'm not going to go so much into detail. We're going to do the opening scene and all that good stuff, because there is a lot of great gameplay in here. Like I said, this game is fantastic. If you guys have even seen this, even heard of it, if you're interested at all, just buy this first bit, go buy it. You will not be disappointed. Game is incredible from start to finish. This is the kind of game that the immersion level is real. Like, you felt like you're the character. You wanted to get to the end to see if you could absolve yourself of this punishment. Like, you really felt like you were going through it. But we're going to get into this. Let's take a look. We're going to start a new file. As you can see here, I dumped about probably 5 of those hours as pause time. You can't pause the game, and you can't like exit out of the game. So you just leave it running a lot. But anyhow, probably you're probably looking at about 15-20 hours to just beat the game. There are 2 endings, so you got to do a couple different things. Ultimately, you can just run through the game, get to the end boss, beat him, and you get the bad ending. And then the other ending, you have to kill. You have to find a certain bead and sully it, destroy it, and then you can go and kill the confessors. If you're not familiar with that, you'll figure it out. But again, that's one of those things, the timing thing. So you have to bring an item to a certain person by a certain time, and if you don't do that, you can't get the item, and then therefore you're done. So anyhow, so what we're gonna do here is start a new game and show you guys that. Take a little break, check out this intro. Oh baby.
Because it is my guilt, I claim you, grievous miracle. Make my chest hurt with regret. Forge your punishment and nail it deep. Shape my guilt once again.
And thus, guilt, repentance, mourning, and every pain of the soul of all kind were visibly and tangibly manifested everywhere and in all of us. Sometimes in the form of blessing and grace, sometime in the form of punishment and corruption. That divine will, equally pious and cruel, which we could not and will never be able to unravel, was called the miracle.
So again, if you're just tuning in, this game is incredible. Just the amount of detail put into this game is mind-blowing. If you're wondering what kind of game this is, you might be thinking from kind of the intro there, it's similar to, say, Dark Souls, something like that. Symphony of the Night, and that's almost not a fair comparison. Symphony of the Night is one of the few perfect games. In a way, this game, it's a 2D platformer, Metroidvania style game. That term gets tossed around a lot, and we're almost in a Renaissance era of gaming. I'm a huge fan of retro gaming, NES, that kind of stuff. Love those games. And we're just in this time right now where they're creating all these 16-bit pixel art, all this amazing games that we had not been getting on previous generations. So if you're an old school gamer, I play on PS4. I'm not sure how Xbox runs. I know they have Cuphead, which is an exclusive to them. Well, maybe now Switch as well. But anyhow, they've got that game. I'm not sure how many games they get like this that do a lot of coverage on these kinds of games. But if you're a retro gamer, you're old school, and you're looking and you want a new system, get yourself a PS4. There is so many incredible games to play. This being possibly the best version of this style of game that I've ever played, and recently I played through was it the Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, and also Curse of the Moon, which is an excellent game as well. That one was a recreation of Castlevania 3 in a lot of ways, but yeah, this is incredible. It's unlike anything you've ever played before in a lot of ways. I'm not talking the genre of the game, but we're talking just you'll play the game, you'll get that sensation, you'll get that feeling. Because when I get that feeling, hey, what was that? Oh, it was telling me to jump. I thought there was a door there. You have to go back with a later key. But yeah, like a lot of games, you got jump, you got down jump, slide, you got block, dodge. So there's not really a block mechanic, it's a parry. Okay, so I think it's right somewhere in here. Oh, telling you, okay. And kind of like bonfires, you've got this, and it resets the area. So basically you could run through the whole game without using these, and none of the enemies would respawn, but and eventually you can select items there. I don't believe I have any items to select. You can change your magic, and there is a lot of different just collectibles and things. You find body parts of people. Oh crap. And that doesn't look good. This guy gonna kill me? Oh, I guess I don't have dodge roll yet. Oh yeah, I do. It's not circle like you would hope it would be. I almost forgot there was a brutal boss right at the beginning. One thing that does bugger is that your guy gets turned around a lot, especially if you're using the analog stick, which is unfortunate in a lot of these games. Oh man, getting wrecked. And again, you got to choose, you know, when to use your flasks, because you get hit, it just like basically ruins it. Which I did there. Yeah, again, so I'm using the analog stick and you get turned around constantly. It's super irritating. And then you use the D-pad and you get stuck in a downward position crouch. But those are just some of the minor bugs you face when you play retro games on a modern console. They just quite haven't figured out the controls as best as they can, but it's not the hugest issue. Oh yeah, more cutscene. Here we go. And of course your trusty mini-map. It would have been nice to be able to zoom in. That was one feature that was a little rough on this. And again, kind of just what I was talking about previously. Okay, so yeah, you can unlock this with a key from the merchant. You get a spell. Nothing, you know, that was one thing about the spells. None of them are like super good, at least the ones I found originally. And, you know, the beads are where it's at. You get some good beads and life upgrades, things like that. But yeah, as I was mentioning, is from a standpoint of wanting to go back and like play through this game and do the platinum, there's some zones in this game more frustrating than anything like I've ever played really. There's like snow level, which of course is always rough, but it also has a breeze, a wind, a strong wind, more than a breeze. But anyhow, it blows you off the cliff into a pitfall death, and that kind of stuff can get super irritating. There's one-hit death like spike falls as well everywhere in this game that are super easy to fall into, and it's progression, stuff like that is frustrating and kind of makes you not want to go back through and try to do the platinum, at least right away. I mean, maybe take a break from it and go back through, but there was just certain spots in this game, and not a lot of them you have to actually go back to, but you might when you're looking for everything. But it would have been nice, and maybe they do, and I didn't find it, but it would have been nice if they had some kind of ability that you don't instantly die, or saves you from, falling in the pit and die, because it can get super frustrating trying to go back and do that. That is my chief complaint here. But as far as playing through the game, if you're not worried about trophies, you're not worried about any of that, you're just trying to beat the game and have an enjoyable experience, you're gonna be amazed. And I absolutely recommend this game to any gamer who enjoys these style of games, or any gamer who wants a challenge, because you're gonna find it here. So let's talk to this guy.
Regretful be the heart, penitent one. The anguish of the eldest brother has now come to an end. I am Deo Gracias, witness to and narrator of the acts of the grievous miracle. Such is my penance, as yours is silence. The cradle of affliction is what you seek. This can be found in the mother of mothers of the churches. It is a remote place separated from the rest of these lands by a great sacred and forbidden door. Even a wise penitent like me knows nothing of what lies beyond those high walls. However, what I do know is that, according to the rule, one must carry out the 3 humiliations to gain access to what they guard. One of them must be performed in the high mountains, covered in thick blankets of snow and ice. Another in the depths of a dark, entombed church where the sleeper lies. And the last one at the end of the trail, carved by moans that claw their way out of an iron spiral. in the bowels of the bell named Hondo that grows into the earth. Take this thorn and place it on the handle of your sword. If, when the time comes, as you grip your weapon firmly, you notice that it wounds you and makes you bleed, having grown with more thorns sprouting from it, writhing over the figure of the Father carved into the knob, that will mean that you are at the mercy of the grievous miracle, whether for its punishment or its forgiveness.
You know, and there's some good interaction, NPC interaction. There's different, not so much quests, you know, but there's a few NPCs that you interact with through the game that will, you know, you have to do certain things and bring it to them, and they'll give you items, things like that. But there's no like, you know, go do this, go do that. Very indirect. There's some cool execution move. Nice. I was hoping I'd get to show that. Oh, that one was not super great. Let's see. Sometimes these other guys. Oh, he doesn't stab you. He just walks forward with the knife. It's brutal. Hey, what's up, Easy? You better feel properly prepared. Man, this game is brutal, dude. I don't know if you can... I was saying it earlier. I'm not sure if you can get it on Xbox, dude, but this game is nuts. Okay, so here's one of the spells. And it's cool, but it's, you know, it's not great. And the issue too is that you know, you have to a lot of time you're going to get hit, and then the spell's range is tough because there's that little bit of lag when you're going to use the spell, and it dang. It's hard to use. I guess if you figure it out in the right way, you know, you can time it and whatnot. It's like using the flasks. Ooh. And then, of course, a sub mission is finding these little cherubs. What's that game? Cherry cherubs that we need to get? Oh, totally, dude. This game it's got all that goodness. Ooh. Suppose I don't need to kill those guys. See ya.
There is no answer to our plea. The miracle has forsaken us, and my ornate throne turns its back on those who await here.
And, you know, if you're in the beginning, if you're wondering what this fountain is, you can interact with it later in the game. I'm not sure what it requires to interact with it, but you do bring items to it. Again, that's one of those timing things where if you're not doing stuff properly. And these guys this is the main pain of the game, is if these are the guys, if you don't bring them the items in a certain order, in a certain time frames, they start dying, and that will immediately stop you from getting the platinum. You'll have to start over.
Sorrowful be the heart.
But these guys are funny. They're kissing the wounds.
Battle, sanctuary to this humble brotherhood of the kisses of wounds. Few remain here who can still employ it, but Tirso is my name. There are few of us who still care for the sick and ailing. With devout kisses, we bless the wounds of those who seek our protection. Thus both we and they remain at the mercy of the miracle. Time outside these walls passes by strangely. In sundowns, we need not contemplate. But if your penance happens to carry you under said skies, be so kind as to bring us some ingredients for our ointments. The will and the miracle shall show you which ones they are.
Penitent one, you who carry the painful guilt in your cracked hands. Lend it to us and alleviate our burden. Lend it to us and wipe away our tears. Because it is an act of penitence.
So yeah, right here, as you can see, this is how you upgrade your sword. There are 7 of these bad boys throughout the throughout the game. It's the 7th one that's locked. I couldn't find it. It looks like at some point you get some kind of whip weapon that allows you to kind of grapple. I couldn't find it. So I'd have to go back and play through the game to find that again. But as far as I know, it's not in any of these upgrades, or maybe I missed something. But anyhow, this is where you come and upgrade your stuff. Very useful. All these skills. The down thrust is useful early, and so based on your playstyle. And then the sacred thrust is always good as well. Allows you to roll, dodge, and stab, which is nice, especially when you're fighting multiple enemies. Okay. And then again, it's like games. You can unlock shortcuts and ways back and forth. It all connects relatively well. There are some portals that you unlock as well. It would have been nice if they would have had a little bit more connectivity that way, but not a big deal.
Thou hast called upon the winch of the Order of the True Shrine. In this place,
There's another one, the NPCs that you interact with and bring items to.
So we can grant them holy burial, as our charitable rule prescribeth. Help us these poor souls. O penitent one in silence, the Order blesses you.
And again, I don't know what relation to that and time frames go. Eventually you get an item that lets you talk to these dead bodies, and that's a necessary item for the trophy as well, and that's another timed event. And then once the kissers start dying, their graves show up here, so you've screwed up if you see any graves here. And then there is a spot you find later in the game where you take all your trophies or collectibles, whatever you want to call them, to assemble. And I don't know, I didn't find all the pieces for. I think there's like 3 bodies you find all the pieces for. I don't know if it builds the body or what. Ooh, I wanted to get an execution. Let's see. Oh, I don't know if I can do that one. Wanted to find a cool execution. Maybe one of these other guys coming up here. Once you get the down stab, it makes it a little easier to do the executions because it doesn't quite kill the enemies. So we'll just go a little further to see if I can't get some kind of execution here. But again, as I mentioned earlier, guys, this game's incredible. Make sure to pick it up if you're thinking you might be wanting your next game to play. Yeah, I just don't think I have the proper powers right yet to pull them off, but some of them are better than others. That's for sure. See right here's an example of the following those spikes, you're done. But and as I mentioned, this game is a lot like unlike any game I've played before, and I've played some really brutal games over the years. Splatterhouse comes to mind, Project Overkill, some of those different ones, and like I said, this is pretty much unlike anything. It's It's wild. It's crazy. Make sure to pick it up. You know, in a lot of ways, it might disturb you. Ooh, couldn't get over that guy. And the knockback is real, let me tell you. Well, I was trying to think where something cool might be. But I think this is kind of the part where you start going into these gnarly dungeons. Yeah, unfortunately, I just don't think I'm gonna be able to execute somebody properly. The blocking is, or well, the parry is not like overly difficult, but you can mistime it pretty easily. But yeah, again, just the atmosphere, the aesthetics, everything. Oh, okay, so this is the end game you're trying to get to. Well, not mid game, I should say, once you beat the first 3 bosses. So I did go the wrong way. But yeah, I mean, just everything about this game is incredible. You're looking at the visual. I guess the one area that might not be, and you know, sometimes people harp on this too much. I mean, obviously, an excellent soundtrack does make a game that much better, and that's where you're gonna see like Konami or even, you know, Capcom. They bring that next level of the excellent composure and different things like that. The background music in this is subtle. It does ramp up and it does create an ambiance, you know, an atmosphere of kind of like an eerie feeling. I'm sure if you're playing this game in headphones at night, you know, you're gonna get that creepy vibe. But as far as just overall kind of like background noise, you can't really hear it, especially if your volume's down, and you know, there's nothing to write home about, but it does build an experience through the game. But you know, if you were to pick straws or pull straws or whatever it's called, I don't know, split hairs, is that it? If you were to do that, I mean, that's one areas you could say is weak about the game is oh, that guy's crazy. I wonder if I can get down there. I don't think I can. I think you die trying to get down there. There's a shortcut back, but yeah, if you wanted to nitpick and pick apart the game, you could say that the soundtrack is weak, and you know, to give it a bad rating on that is just it's not fair. It's a much better game than a soundtrack, but I would agree that the sound definitely matters in games, but to the point to say it's a bad game, no. This is an excellent game all around. Aside from, like I mentioned, there's some areas in this game that are really tough. I mean, you're gonna get frustrated trying to handle them.
Sister of mine, as I foretold to you, someone is heading towards the Forbidden Gate. Someone who seeks the purge and excommunication of all that is sacred and rests there. No, no, do not place your doubts on me. I am ready.
And that's one thing I couldn't tell either. Is the character a female, a male? I thought at the end of the game, spoilers, they called him a he, but I don't know. It's hard to say. Okay, so here's an example of the Confessor. So once you unlock, you find a bead, and then you have to die 3 times with it equipped, and then it allows you to then fight. Well, not fight him. You hit him, and then it cracks the statue, and you go into a portal and fight what's called the arena battle. Part of the other, one of the other trophies is to do all the arena battles. They're not tough. It's just 4 waves of enemies or whatever. Nothing crazy. I think there's one with like a mini boss fight. Nothing tough. But don't take them lightly, because you can get wrecked. Just like anywhere in this game. And but yeah, if when you die, it doesn't affect your life, but your action bar, your blue mana bar, basically for your spells, will decrease. And then when you die, it'll leave guilt marks around the map. You can find them, go back to them, or you can just come to one of these guys, pay the fee, pay the souls, and absolve them. But I'm going to tell you, they don't give you a lot of souls in this. And you know, it's tough sledding when it comes to trying to get those souls, especially early on when you're wanting to buy upgrades. There's an item vendor, you know, so if you're wasting your souls early on confessing your guilt, you might be finding a harder time for the game, or more excess grinding than you might want. Okay, so I was thinking maybe I could get, oh jeez, I was thinking maybe I could get an execution on this guy. Nope. Okay. Okay, so there are secrets in the game as well, so I think there's one right up there. I'll go check it out. These guys are annoying. Those ones aren't so bad, but there's other ones later in the game. Okay, so there you go. So example, a lot of time they're marked with a, oh, I should have tried the other thing. A lot of time they're marked with a, like a pot or something, but not always, so do pay attention to that, or just, if it looks obvious, go after it. Man. It's too early for dealing with this stuff. Oh man, there's a lot of guys down there. Oh jeez. Well, maybe if I do this. Yeah, not what I wanted to do. As far as breaking the objects go, there's a bead you can use that lets you get fervor or something from it, which is your blue mana. But no hidden items as far as I could tell, nothing like that. But it is always fun to smash pots, right? Okay, this looks dangerous. I wonder if you can open this. Maybe it's just there. Ah. Okay, here we go. Excellent. Take that! Haha! So that's what I was hoping for. That was one of the better ones. There are some, you know, each enemy has a different one, and I don't know if there's more than one animation for each enemy. I think it's just the one. Heyo, take the shortcut down. Oh! Almost dead. Life shrine? Oh hey, what's this? This doesn't look good with all this blood. Coffin treasure chest, loving it. Oh, of course it was trapped. It was too good to be true. Yeah, typically if you see blood on the ground everywhere, you're probably in for a bad time. Those wizard enemies can be a nuisance, especially when you're on like a cliffside or something, as they kind of run away from you and shoot fireballs that knock you off the cliff. Oh yeah. Oh no, get out of there. Wanted to execute that guy. Those guys are gnarly, man. What is that guy even doing? Die already. Ah! Alright, let's see if we can't mistime this. Oh, no. Okay. Well, I'm pretty much gonna be dead here. Out of potions. Fighting for my life. I think I can actually go back up here and unlock that, so that's always nice. And then, you know, go back up to the life shrine. Might as well. But yeah, guys, this is Blasphemous on the PS4. Make sure to get it as soon as possible. Play it. You're going to love it. I had to play it with a lot of interruptions, which sucked because I just, you know, it's like just wanted to get through the game, play it, enjoy it. So if you can carve out a little bit of time for yourself where you can maybe tuck it away and play it a few hours at a time, you know, do that. It's a tough game, and if you're having to pick it up and put it down a lot, it's gonna mess it up, the flow. But you know, overall, just an excellent game. Get it how you can get it, play it how you can play it. Very fantastic. Just the immersion level is real. It is a fantastic game. I can't praise this game enough. As I mentioned, I'd played through Bloodstained, which was an excellent game, but I'm almost gonna rate this a little bit higher than that game in terms of enjoyment and playing through it. You know, Bloodstained was excellent, but this is definitely one of the top kind of 2D platformer Metroidvania style games you can get. I just played through Ghoul Boy recently. That was cool. I'm going to be bringing a Platinum Trophy guide for Sundered, the Eldritch Edition. Very obtainable game, but I'll be giving you some tips and tricks on that one to save you a lot of time. But that is another very excellent Metroidvania style game, definitely in the top of that category. And recently I picked up Death's Gambit, which is a Adult Swim made game. The White Rabbit produced that, so I just picked that up, physical copy. GameStop has them on sale for $14.99. They're going fast. If you want to get one, make sure to do that. I just briefly played that yesterday, but I think I need a break from this genre of game. Plus, after playing this game, playing anything else like it just doesn't feel right. So I'm gonna have to go back and revisit that. I wanted to kind of have a more detailed review for you on that game right now, but you know what, I played it enough to go okay. Because again, the reviews I read on it online, they were very negative. They said, a lot of it's a Souls-like game, which it is and it isn't. And so, they basically just lump it into that Souls clone, and they, say it's too tough and it's not rewarding and things like that. But the little bit I played of it, it's a very cool game. There's multiple classes you can select. You can do your skills. There's a lot of different variety that does make the game entertaining. And I think I made it to the first boss. It wasn't overly difficult. The enemies, the mechanics of it are a little wonky as far as the combat and stuff goes. But again, I was just figuring it out. But as far as I can tell so far, a very playable game. So that's another excellent game if you're looking for this style of game to play. But again, if you play this game first, it may ruin all other games for you, at least for the time being, as it has for me. So that being said, you know what? I'm going to go play some Puzzle Quest 2 on the DS. That game is excellent. I've been playing that. And like I said, look forward to Sundered, the Platinum Trophy Guide coming out soon. I just need to carve out some time for that. It's a lengthy one. And be bringing that to you guys. And in the meantime, check out our Platinum Trophy Guide list if you're looking for more games to play, more plats to get. And yeah, if you guys have any questions or comments on this game, please leave them in the comments. Let us know your thoughts, your opinions, your feelings on this game. What did this game do to you? Did it pervert your mind as it did mine? Did it twist my reality? Twist your reality? But yeah, thanks for tuning in, guys. Thanks for stopping by. Big shout out to Easy coming through. Gotta enjoy that when you stop by, man. We need to get together, play some games. But yeah, in the meantime, like I said, check out those other vids. You've been hanging out with Brothers Forge Gaming, and we'll see you on the next run.